Virgo, stop what you're doing. Between July 16th and 17th, the universe is sealing a door behind you. Forever. 3 invisible soul traps are rising to test you one final time. Fail even one, and this lesson repeats. This is not a normal day. This is your final test. Right now, as you're watching this, something is happening directly above you that explains exactly why this week feels the way it does. Mercury, your ruling planet, Virgo, the planet that governs your mind, your words, the way you process the entire world, has been moving in retrograde since late June, and it will not turn direct again until July 23rd. For every other sign, that's background noise. For you, it's personal. Your own planet is asking you to stop, slow down, and revisit something. Not because you did anything wrong, but because a part of you still needs one more honest look before you're allowed to move forward. Here's what makes it even more specific. Just days ago, on July 12th, Mercury sat in near perfect alignment with the Sun, a moment astrologers call a cazimi, when confusion briefly burns away and sudden clarity arrives, almost like a flash of light in a dark room. If a realization hit you out of nowhere earlier this week, about a person, a decision, a pattern you finally saw clearly for the first time, that was not random. That was the universe handing you the answer before your final test even began. And now, on top of that, you're standing just one day past a brand new moon. A fresh lunar cycle began on July 15th, dark and unannounced, the kind of beginning most people don't even notice because it doesn't arrive with fireworks. Tonight, that moon is a thin, waxing crescent, moving close to Venus and to Regulus, the royal star, the heart of the constellation Leo, tied for thousands of years to courage, dignity, and the refusal to make yourself smaller for anyone's comfort. That is not a small detail, Virgo. That is exactly the energy this test is asking you to borrow. So here is what's actually converging over these 48 hours. Your own ruling planet, forcing one final look backward. A brand new cycle already begun without asking permission. And courage itself, symbolically walking beside the moon this week, close enough to reach if you're willing to take it. This is not a normal 48 hours. You are standing at a threshold. Behind you is a version of yourself that survived by controlling every outcome, every detail, every worst-case scenario in advance. Ahead of you is a version of yourself the universe has been preparing for years, but you cannot carry both versions through the same door. One of them has to be left behind. That is why this moment feels different. Maybe you've noticed a strange restlessness under your skin. Maybe you keep seeing the same number over and over. Maybe you're tired in a way sleep doesn't fix. Tired in your spirit, like you've been holding something up for far too long. These are not coincidences. They are the early tremors of a soul-level shift, and your higher self is trying to get your attention before this window closes. Over the next 48 hours, you are going to be shown 3 soul traps, 3 familiar, almost invisible patterns that have kept you small without you fully realizing it. They will not look like danger. They will look like responsibility. They will look like being realistic. They will look like helping someone else instead of yourself. That is exactly why they are dangerous. Stay with me, because once you see these 3 clearly, you cannot unsee them. And that is where your real power begins. Soul Trap 1, the Loop Soul Trap. Number 1, the belief that if you think about something long enough, you'll finally feel safe enough to act. Virgo, this is the trap you know best, because it wears your own voice. And this week, it's louder than usual because Mercury, your ruling planet, is retrograde. The pattern of looping, revisiting, circling back isn't just happening around you right now. It's happening inside you, amplified. This trap sounds like preparation. It sounds like being thorough. It sounds like, I just need a little more information before I decide. But underneath it, if you're honest with yourself, it's fear wearing the costume of logic. Here is the divine sign to watch for around July 16th and 17th. You'll find yourself circling the same decision, the same conversation, the same worry for what feels like the 100th time. Maybe it's a relationship you keep replaying, searching for the sentence that would have changed everything. Maybe it's a career move you've been thinking about for months while the opportunity quietly ages. Maybe it's a boundary you know you need to set, but you keep rehearsing the perfect way to say it instead of simply saying it. This is analysis paralysis, and it is not protecting you. It is postponing you. Every hour spent overthinking a decision your soul already made weeks ago is an hour you're not living the life that decision was meant to unlock. Remember that Kazemi on July 12th? The flash of clarity that arrived almost out of nowhere? That was your answer. You already have it. The looping thoughts since then haven't been searching for new information. They've been searching for permission. Permission to trust yourself. Permission to be wrong and survive it. Permission to choose without a guarantee. The universe doesn't punish indecision. It simply waits. But it won't wait forever. Doors that stay open too long eventually close on their own, not out of cruelty, but out of natural law. Energy that goes unused gets redirected somewhere else. So how do you escape this trap before Mercury turns direct on the 23rd? You stop asking your mind for certainty and you start asking your body for truth. Notice which choice makes your chest feel lighter, even for a second, even if it's terrifying. Notice which option, when you imagine it, makes something in you exhale. That exhale is your soul talking. Your mind will never hand you a guarantee because guarantees don't exist. But your spirit will always give you a direction if you're still enough to listen for it. This test isn't asking you to abandon your intelligence, Virgo. It's asking you to stop using it as a hiding place. Discernment is your gift when it serves your growth. It becomes a soul trap the moment it only serves your fear. Let this be the moment you stop circling and start choosing, because the second soul trap is even quieter than the first, and it's been living inside you far longer. Soul trap 2, the mirror soul trap. Number 2, the belief that you have to become perfect before you're allowed to be loved, chosen, or successful. Virgo, this one is old. It didn't start this year, or even this decade. For many of you, this pattern was written in childhood, in moments when love felt conditional, when affection seemed to arrive only after the good grades, the good behavior, the being easy to manage. Somewhere in there, a younger part of you made a quiet agreement with the world. I will be perfect, and in exchange, I will be safe. That agreement kept you afloat for a long time, but it was never meant to be permanent. And the universe is now asking you to renegotiate. Here's the sign to watch for. You'll feel the pull to compare yourself to someone else's timeline. You'll look at where they are and instantly calculate everything you lack. You'll feel the urge to delay something, a launch, a message, an application, a conversation, a version of yourself you're ready to reveal, until you feel ready enough, knowing deep down that this feeling of readiness may never fully arrive. This is your inner critic disguised as wisdom. It tells you it's protecting you from embarrassment, from failure, from judgment. But what it's actually doing is keeping you exactly where you already are, because staying the same feels safer than being seen and imperfect at the same time. Here's what this test wants you to understand. Nothing in nature waits to be perfect before it grows. The flower doesn't delay blooming because its petals aren't symmetrical yet. The river doesn't pause because its path isn't smooth. Growth is inherently imperfect, and yet it still moves forward, still transforms, still becomes exactly what it was always meant to be. You were never asked to be flawless, Virgo. You were asked to be honest, devoted, and willing. Those three things you already are. The rest, the perfection, the polish, the having it all figured out, that was a story you told yourself to feel in control of a world that never actually promised you certainty. Watch for this trap, especially in the next 48 hours. If a thought arises telling you that you're not ready, not enough, not qualified, not deserving, pause and ask, is this true or is this old? Almost always, it's old. It's an echo, not a fact. And echoes lose their power the moment you stop answering them as if they were real. Remember Regulus, walking beside the moon this week, the royal star that has never once asked permission to shine. That's the energy this test is lending you, if you're willing to reach for it. This is your final test, asking you to walk forward while still imperfect, still unfinished, still human, and to trust that this isn't just acceptable, it's required. Soul trap. 3. The empty well. Soul trap. Number 3, and the most dangerous of the 3, because it will look the most like love, pouring yourself out for everyone else while quietly starving your own soul. Virgo, you are one of the most naturally devoted signs in the entire zodiac. You show love through action, fixing, helping, remembering the small details other people forget, showing up when it's inconvenient, because that's simply who you are. This is a beautiful gift, but somewhere along the way it may have turned into a way of earning your worth instead of an expression of it. Here's the sign to watch for around July 16th and 17th. You'll feel the familiar urge to put someone else's needs ahead of a need of your own, and you'll barely notice yourself doing it, because it will feel completely normal. A friend needs advice at midnight. A family member needs a favor that costs you your only free evening. Someone at work needs you to fix what they broke again. And you'll say yes, not because you truly want to, but because saying no still feels, somewhere in your body, like a small betrayal. This is the trap. Not because helping is wrong, helping is one of your soul's greatest strengths, but because when you give from an empty well, you're not actually offering love anymore. You're offering exhaustion, wearing love's clothing, and the people around you can feel that difference, even if they can't name it. This final test is asking you a difficult question. What would it feel like to matter to yourself as much as you matter to everyone else? Not more, just as much. Equal footing. A boundary is not the opposite of love. A boundary is what allows love to be sustainable instead of self-destructive. Watch closely over these 2 days. If resentment creeps in after helping someone, that resentment is not a character flaw. It's information. It's your soul telling you that the giving has crossed past its healthy edge into a place where you're disappearing to keep other people comfortable. This is your invitation to rewrite the pattern, to let someone sit with their own discomfort instead of rescuing them from it, to rest without guilt, to say not today without an apology attached. This is not selfishness, Virgo. This is the boundary your next chapter requires, because the version of you that's arriving cannot be built by a soul that has nothing left to give. 3 traps: overthinking, self-doubt, overgiving. All 3 will visit you in these 48 hours, familiar and disguised as normal life. But now you see them, and what you finally see, you can finally release. Here's what almost no one tells you about spiritual tests, Virgo. They were never designed to punish you. They're designed to reveal you, to show you in real time who you've been quietly becoming this entire year, whether you noticed it happening or not. If you can move through July 16th and 17th without falling fully into overthinking, without letting the inner critic run the show, without abandoning yourself to take care of everyone else, something shifts, not loudly, not with fireworks. The way a locked door simply becomes unlocked without ever announcing that it changed. You may notice it first in small ways. A conversation that used to drain you suddenly doesn't. A decision that used to take weeks suddenly takes minutes because you're listening to yourself instead of your fear. A relationship, a job, a living situation that no longer fits who you're becoming may start to feel undeniably wrong in a way you can no longer explain away. This is what alignment feels like. For most of your life, Virgo, you've been so focused on being useful, being correct, being needed, that you may have forgotten what it feels like to simply be in flow, to move through your days supported instead of struggling for approval you were never actually required to earn. Watch for divine signs confirming this shift, repeating numbers appearing at moments too specific to be random, a stranger saying the exact sentence you needed to hear, dreams that feel more like memories than fiction, a sudden pull towards something you'd almost given up on. These are not superstitions. They're the universe saying, quietly but unmistakably, you're on the right path now. Keep going. By July 23rd, when Mercury finally turns direct again, this entire review cycle closes for good. What you choose to release in these 48 hours determines what you're still carrying when that door shuts behind you. The soul doesn't transform through comfort. It transforms through exactly what you're facing right now. The choice, made in a small, ordinary moment, to trust yourself over your fear, one more time than you did yesterday, that is the entire test. Not perfection, not certainty, just one more moment of trust than before. Virgo, you were never broken and you were never behind. You were simply early to a version of your life the rest of the world hasn't caught up to yet. This final test isn't the universe doubting you. It's the universe making absolutely sure you're ready to receive what's coming next, because what's coming next requires a version of you that no longer needs to control, prove, or shrink. That version is already inside you. It has been the entire time. You're simply being asked one final time to choose it. If any part of this spoke to something deep inside you, Virgo, that's not a coincidence. That's confirmation. Your soul recognized itself in these words before your mind even caught up. Before you go, I want to ask you something. Which of these 3 soul traps hit closest to home? Overthinking, self-doubt, or overgiving? Type just one word in the comments below. I read every single one, and I promise you, whichever one you chose, you are not sitting with it alone. If this video found you at exactly the right moment, that's the universe again, gently confirming you're meant to be here. So do one small thing for me. Hit subscribe and turn on that notification bell, because I release readings like this for every sign, and I don't want you to miss the moment your sign is called next. And if you know another Virgo who's been overthinking, doubting themselves, or giving too much of themselves away lately, send them this video right now. Sometimes we're not meant to receive our own message. Sometimes we're meant to deliver it to someone else. You made it through the final test, Virgo. Now go live like you already know it. I'll see you in the next reading. Until then, trust yourself.